Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much for all of you, to all of you for joining this Tuesday session. I know Tuesday sessions are always difficult thing to join. Most of you have expressed your inability. But the reason why we are still continuing is because few of you are showing a lot of interest. And this is a very, very nice opportunity where we can hear Prabhupada's lectures or read the books of Srila Prabhupada as a group. So I'm very fond of this opportunity. Personally speaking, Sunday is a rush day for me, and Tuesdays are not so much a rush for me. So I also get a little relaxed environment where I can spend time with all of you. So thank you for joining, and apologies for being few minutes late. Some very important guests had come and they wanted to talk to me. So till now I was in a discussion, and I've just joined as early as I could. So if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me properly, can you please raise your hands? Okay. Okay, whom should I make the co-host today? I'm lowering everybody's hands. Who would like to become the co-host? Please raise your hand. Co-host means you have to remain throughout the session. And if something happens to my laptop or my internet connection, Zoom will automatically make you the host. And until things get proper on my side, you have to host the session. Okay. Only 2 people are raising their hands. Does this mean that the others have an intention to run away in between sometime? Okay. So Deepmala Mataji, Abhishek Prabhu. Today we will make Nivedita Mataji as co-host. So the reason why we are making her co-host because I think Abhishek Prabhu has already been co-host sometime. Also because Nivedita Soniji Mataji has very nicely participated in book distribution in this book marathon month. She has helped us in distributing quite many books. She has also taken a lot of books for herself. So congratulations to Nivedita Mataji. Abhishek Prabhu has also helped us, and Deepmala Mataji has also helped us. But we want to also congratulate Nivedita Mataji. Okay, so we'll start with the recitation of the Bhagavad Gita. If I'm not wrong, we are supposed to recite the 13th chapter. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then please say wrong in the chat box. If I'm not wrong, then I'll open the 13th chapter. Okay, Nivedita Mataji is confirming that we had done 12th chapter last week. So I will share my screen. I will go to advanced view and I will select only the text, not the synonyms, not the translation, not the purport. That's how it will come. Let's start reciting. Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnam evacha etad veditum ichhami jnanam jneyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetram itya abhidhiyate etad yoveti tam prahuhu kshetragya iti tadvidha. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragya jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama tat kshetram yadrakcha yadvikari yatascha yad स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु। ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमाद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः। महाभूतान्यहङ्कारो बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रिया गोचारः। इच्छा द्वेष सुखं दुःखं संघातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारम् उदाहृतम्। अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् पासानं शौचं स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः। इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम्। असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्याभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवितम् आरतिर्जनसंसदि। अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यथा ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतम् अश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते। सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतो शिक्षिरो मुखम् सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति। सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च। बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तं इव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णु प्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषाम् अपि तज्ज्योतिस्तमसः परमुच्यते। ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम् इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्ता एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावयोपपद्यते। प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्। कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते। पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्योनिजन्मसु। उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते। ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्व एवम् अजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्यः उपासते तेऽपि चतिरान्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणः। यावत् संजायते किंचित् सत्वं स्थावर जंगमं क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ संयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभा समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व अविनाश्यन्तं यः पश्यन्ति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितम् ईश्वरं न हि हीनस्य आत्मानात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम् प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति यदा भूत पृथग्भावम् एकस्थम् अनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा अनाद्वित्वान् निर्गुणात्वात् परमात्मायम् अव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्याद् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रवस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते यथा प्रकाशयत्य एकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूत प्रकृति मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Very nice. We have read the 13th chapter. 13th chapter is a very, very interesting chapter. You can say that it is also one of a little complex chapters, not very easy to understand. If you only read the translations, definitely in your whole life you'll never understand until unless you read the purport. And even after reading the purport, probably there may be some concepts which may be confusing. So for that you need a teacher who is a devotee of Krishna. For all efforts to understand, read, explain the Bhagavad Gita, one principle is fully active. Krishna says, Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakhacheti rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Bhakto sime sakhacheti. Only those people who have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who are not envious of Krishna, who are not trying to become Krishna. On the contrary, they have a friendly disposition towards Krishna. Bhakto sime sakhacheti. Only those who are bhaktas and who are sakhas, friendly disposition, non-envious disposition, and who are devotees of Krishna, rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Only they can understand the rahasya of Bhagavad Gita. So you may need the guidance of devotees to understand this 13th chapter fully. But however, in nutshell, we will try to read and just scratch the surface. Oh Arjuna, my dear Krishna. Arjuna said, Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, the nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, the field and the knower of the field, and the knowledge and the object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. So Arjuna asked these 5 questions: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, and the object of knowledge also. I don't know what they call it in Sanskrit, object of knowledge. Let me see. There's some problem with my internet. It's really slow today. Websites are not opening only. Anyways, we'll continue. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, somebody said something? Jnanam. Okay, yeah. Object of knowledge is... No, it was not Jnanam. What did you type? Gayenam. I don't know what's your... Jnayam. Okay, Jnayam. Okay, Jnayam. Okay. So the object of knowledge is Jnayam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is the field, and one who knows this field is called as the knower of the field." Okay. Unless you go deep, you'll not understand, but just read as of now. O scion of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. To understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So, in brief, we also know this body, and Krishna also knows this body. But the difference between us and Krishna is that Krishna knows all the bodies, and I know only in my body. If a person is standing next to me, I don't know whether he's having indigestion or whether he's having corona or whether he's having some problem in his leg. I don't know, but Krishna knows. I am claiming this head to be my head. This is one aspect. I know only about myself, but Krishna knows me and everybody also. This is one aspect. Another aspect, I'm claiming that this is my body, this is my head. But if somebody asks me how many hairs are there on your head, I'll not be able to answer. If somebody asks me how the digestion is happening in my stomach, I may give some details here and there, but exactly I'll not be able to explain. But Krishna will be able to explain, and Krishna knows what is happening right now, and Krishna also knows the number of hair on my head. So, two capacities. One thing is there, I am the kshetragya of only my kshetra, but Krishna is the knower of all the kshetras or all the bodies. And similarly, I am having limited knowledge about my own kshetra, but Krishna has absolute complete knowledge about anything and everything. This is the difference between Jivatma and Bhagavan. And Krishna is saying, you should know, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. That means I am the ultimate Kshetragya. To understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That means to understand that I am not this body but the spirit soul. And to understand that Krishna is the ultimate Kshetragya, that is Gneyam, or the object of knowledge. That is whose opinion? Krishna's opinion. Now, please hear the brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, and who that knower of field of activities is, and what his influences are. That knowledge of field of activities and the knower of activities is described by various sages in Vedic writings. It is especially presented in the Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. The five great elements, false ego, intelligence, unmanifested, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind, the five sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. Now, what is knowledge? See, only a person who has all the knowledge can actually describe to you what is knowledge. See the definition of knowledge from the person who actually has all the knowledge. Krishna is that person. Krishna says humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Just see the authority with which Krishna is speaking. He has brought in few, I think there are 20 aspects which he has brought in, and he says this is knowledge. And he says, besides these 20 aspects, whatever exists in the whole creation is ignorance. That means Krishna not only knows these 20 aspects, but he also knows all the other aspects apart from these 20 aspects. That's why Krishna, because he knows this wholesome existence, so therefore he can say, all these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. This is the authority of Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you go to the purport of this verse, Prabhupada has taken each and every term: humility, one paragraph; pridelessness, one paragraph; non-violence, one paragraph; tolerance, one paragraph. Like that, he's pouring his heart out. What Krishna, or what is the meaning of these verses or these words which the Guru Shishya Parampara has to tell us. Very, very beautifully, Prabhupada has told. I feel like reading this verse for some time. Please allow me to do that. Oh, my internet is back. Wow. See, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Such a powerful definition this is. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor, dishonor pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently, sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as a religious mentor. As for actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. What are these items? All this non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, steadiness, false ego. So all Prabhupada has written his heart out. This is one of my favorite purports in the 13th chapter. I invite all of you to read this. I just covered humility. Rest is for you to cover. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Now, Krishna has clearly told that this Brahman is subordinate to me. But these Mayavadis, they cannot understand this. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, his heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, Supersoul exists, pervading everything. The Supersoul is the original source of all senses. Yet he is without senses. He is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Although the Supersoul appears to be divided amongst all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Very nice point. The Supersoul is there in everybody's heart. So people may say Krishna has expanded himself into the Supersoul, and he has, expanded himself so much that the original Krishna is dissolved. Only expansions are there in everybody's heart. That is not the case. That's why Krishna says he is never divided. Krishna says in the second chapter, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka. Neither fire can burn, neither water can dry. So if the fire cannot burn, that means the spirit soul can exist in fire. That means there are spirit souls on the sun planet also. Common sense. And if nothing can destroy a spirit soul, that means the spirit soul is eternally individual. So there is no question of merging also. If there is nothing which can destroy a spirit soul or cut a spirit soul or dry a spirit soul or burn a spirit soul, and Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that we are eternal, then it means that there is no concept of merging also. But these Mayavadis, they will say, you'll merge. If the soul, if Paramatma is never divided, he is eternally existing. That means we are also eternally existing as spirit souls. So how is the possibility that one day we will merge in the super soul and become non-existent? It's not possible. So logically speaking, the Bhagavad Gita in every step has no space for Mayavad, but people have twisted and turned the statements in their own. It's very sad that so many Mayavad institutions are now flourishing in the name of spirituality on YouTube, on Facebook, looting people. People don't know the philosophy. A person, the head of that institution comes, talks for 5 minutes, does not refer even a single verse from Bhagavad Gita, says whatever he has to say. Sometimes they have the audacity to say that I don't need to read the Bhagavad Gita. I have not read any scriptures. And people are following them, people are hearing them. They never talk about the spirit soul. They only talk about some mundane things like peace of mind. Peace of mind is a mundane thing because mind is only mundane. It's a material energy. They talk about peace of mind. They talk about meditation. They talk about health. But what about the spirit soul? So this is a very, very important point. Text 17. Text 18. He is the source of light of all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thus, the field of the activities, knowledge and knowable, have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand me thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. Again, Krishna is telling, only my devotees can understand me. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Nature is said to be the cause of all material cause and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this material world. The living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. Yet, in this body, there is another transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer, permitter, and who is known as the supersoul. This verse number 23 is a wonderful verse. We can speak for an hour on this. So much to understand here, so much to relish here, but that is for you to read in the purport. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Very nice. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, and others through cultivation of knowledge, and still others through the working of their fruitive desires. Okay. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others, because of their tendency to hear from authorities. They also transcend the path of birth and death. Meaning to say, even the simple people who are not scholars of Bhagavad Gita, but they are just hearing from saintly people that we should show a lamp in the month of Kartik and chant Hare Krishna. Even if they just hear from purified souls, they'll go back home, back to God. O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere and in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to the different material bodies and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Those with the vision of eternity can see the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul, situated in the Brahman vision, does not mix with the body, though it is situated in that body. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, that means the difference between the body and soul, can also understand the process of liberation from the bondage in material nature and attain to the supreme goal. Very nice. We just finished reading the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Very, very nice chapter. Congratulations to all of you for having read it very, very patiently. So now we would like to continue our reading. And I think we had finished reading the preface of Bhagavad Gita, if I'm not wrong. And today we will continue reading the introduction. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Are we supposed to start the introduction or are we supposed to start something else? Okay, thank you for correcting or confirming. So I'll share my screen. Okay. So these are the pranam mantras, the meaning of the pranam mantras. This introduction is quite long. We will not finish it in one session. But as I said, anybody who takes proper notes while making this introduction, and anybody can make a thematic presentation of this introduction, like what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the first paragraph, what he says in the second paragraph, what he means to say, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, how he thrashes the Mayavadis. And if somebody can just make a thematic presentation based on the introduction, and maybe they can share with me and then we can further refine it. And idea is that I should have fully digested what is there in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, because if I understand the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, then I become a representative of Bhagavad Gita. I can present. If someone asks me what is there in the Bhagavad Gita or what is the Bhagavad Gita, please explain. If you simply repeat the introduction as per, you have to digest it also. So you cannot say the whole introduction, it's quite big. But if you understand this introduction, you have already become a preacher of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's begin. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest region of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter of his lotus feet? Very important point. Rupa Goswami, this Hare Krishna movement or this ISKCON established by Srila Prabhupada is actually being conducted under the guidance of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami. So, amongst all the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami is said to have understood the mind of Lord Chaitanya, who is non-different from Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna, and Rupa Goswami, under Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, he has understood the desire of Sri Chaitanya. And then his writings express the desire of Lord Chaitanya. So this is a prayer. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who established within the material world the actual mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me the shelter of his feet. Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. First, I'll read the entire thing. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. This is the general pranam mantra. Now after this I add the Prabhupada pranam mantra to express my gratitude towards Prabhupada. This is extra. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपात् तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। So I just always add some mantras, but this is the standard. Let's start reading from here. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatt, Gopal Bhatt and Srila Jeev Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishakha. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of this creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Srimati Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vishbhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya. Very nice. And then respectful obeisances to all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnav devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, and all others in the line of devotion. Gauru Bhakta Vrinda, that is. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra also has a meaning. Today, I was reading one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. There I found the meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In many places, Srila Prabhupada has actually given a deep meaning, but here I found a very, very crisp meaning, and that was in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. Verse number, I think, 69, I found the meaning. Yes. Are you able to see my screen? If you're able to see my screen, please type yes in the chat box. Okay, thank you. So here, I was giving, on Tuesdays, generally I give the Bhagavatam class in the temple. So this was the verse. And here, Prabhupada is saying, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra also says My dear Lord Krishna, my dear Lord Ram, O energy of the Lord, Hare, kindly engage me in your service. This is the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We have Hare Krishna and Ram. So Hare represents Srimati Radharani. Ram and Krishna represent Krishna only. So we are saying, oh, all attractive Lord Krishna, oh, the source of all Anand and happiness, Ram, oh, the internal energy of the Lord, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. This is the actual meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What a beautiful meaning. Please engage me in your service. And then Prabhupada goes on to say that although one may be lowly situated, lowly in the position, he can execute devotional service under any circumstance. Devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. And then he speaks one of the verses from 10th canto. So that is a very nice verse. Jnane prayasam namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthitah shruti gatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayasho jita jito api hasi taistrilokyam. One may remain situated in his own place or in his own occupational duty and still lend his ear to receive the message of the Lord from realized souls. The Krishna conscious movement is based on this principle. We are opening centers all over the world to give everyone a chance to hear the message of Lord Krishna in order to go back home, back to God. Very important. You remain wherever you are. Sthane sthitah. Shruti gatam. Just remain wherever you are. And just hear. Just go and hear. If you are a sannyasi, remain a sannyasi. If you are a grihastha, you remain a grihastha. If you are a brahmachari, you remain a brahmachari. And if you are a vanaprasthi, you remain a vanaprasthi. If you are at home, you remain at home. If you are in forest, you remain in the forest. If you are in the sky, you remain in the sky. If you are in the hell, you remain in the hell. Sthane sthita. Shruti gatam, just hear from the self-realized souls of the Lord. And what will this do? Ye prayaso jita jito api asi trais trilokyam. Simply by doing this, one will conquer Ajita. Ajita is the name of Krishna. Means one who cannot be conquered. But if I simply sthane sthita, I remain wherever I am. And if I just hear from the self-realized souls the message of Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, then by this process of hearing and chanting, I will conquer the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead. He'll be sold out because the process of hearing will purify my heart. So this is a very, very nice verse. I came here to explain the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and now I'm explaining many, many things. I should not deviate like this. Some people are chatting what they are saying. Let's see. Okay. Some problem. I also got some message that cloud reconnecting to cloud server. Did I get disconnected in the middle? If no, then please write no in the chat box. Okay, let's continue then. Then we'll go back. We'll leave this fourth canto of Bhagavatam and we'll go back to the preface introduction of Bhagavad Gita, which is very long. Let's continue. Bhagavad Gita is also known as, now, here starts the paragraphs. Please keep noting the various themes which are coming in this. Introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita-Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of the Bhagavad available in Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English, but as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Just give me a second. Okay. So what is the theme of this first paragraph? The theme of this first paragraph is that present all the editions of Bhagavad Gita were twisted, complicated, motivated, and the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita was not being presented. So if you will start explaining Bhagavad Gita as it is, this is the first point which we have to say, that every commentator was expressing their own opinions without touching the subject matter of Gita. That was the thing. Oh, sorry. Second paragraph. Hope you are making one line theme of every paragraph. The first paragraph talks this, second paragraph talks that, like that. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions on the label or the directions given by the physician. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of the Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan. Of course, the word Bhagwan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here Bhagwan designates Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, as a great personality, but at the same time, we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas, spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbark Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and he is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all other Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Bhagavat Purana, Krishnastu Bhagavana Swayam. Therefore, we should take the Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. In the fourth chapter, shloka number 1 to 3, Lord says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manur ikshvakave vibhavet evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale nehamata yogo nashtah param tapa स एवायं मया तेद्या योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्. Very, very nice points. So what is the theme of this paragraph? Very strongly Prabhupada is saying that if you want to take a medicine, you have to listen to the manufacturer. The manufacturer has said twice a day, so you have to just do that. Or you have to listen to the doctor who is prescribing that medicine. You can't just go to the medical shop and choose this color, that bottle, and whatever is the prescription, go to hell with that, I will do whatever I want. This you cannot do. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is being spoken by Krishna, and he is recommending for it to be understood in a particular way. Then what is the scope of interpreting the Bhagavad Gita? We don't interpret the medicine, we just take it as per the instructions. But look at our rascaldom, that we are interpreting the Bhagavad Gita. We are not listening to what Krishna has to say. We are just concocting our own meanings and own references out of it. And then Prabhupada says that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Not only he says, but all the other great spiritual authorities of India say, the Bhagavad Puran says, the Ishopanishad says, the Brahma Samhita says. And therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. Here, the Lord informs Arjuna that this system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken to the sun god. The sun god explained it to Manu. Then Manu explained it to Ikshvaku. And in that way, by disciplic succession, one speaker after another, this yoga system has been coming down. But in course of time, it has become lost. Consequently, Lord has to speak it again, this time to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He tells that he's relating this supreme secret to Arjuna because he's devotee and his friend. This verse, bhakto si me sakhachiti. So, what is the theme of this paragraph? That only Arjuna can understand it. Krishna didn't tell it to Bhishma or anybody else, Dhritarashtra or anybody else, because Arjuna is his devotee as well as his friend. So, only those who are devotees of Krishna and friends of Krishna, they can understand Bhagavad Gita. The purport of this Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is especially meant for the devotee of the Lord. There are three classes of transcendentalists, namely the Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta, or the impersonalist, meditator, and devotee. Jnani is impersonalist, Yogi is meditator, Bhakta is devotee. Here, the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of this new parampara disciplic succession because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from sun god to others. And it was his wish that his teaching be distributed anew by Arjuna. He wanted Arjuna to become the authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna, especially because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna, and his intimate friend. So these are the qualifications to learn Bhagavad Gita. Devotee, direct student, intimacy. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the best understood by a person who has the qualities similar to Arjuna's. That is to say, he must be a devotee in a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is a very elaborate subject matter, but briefly it can be stated that a devotee is in relationship with the Lord in 5 different ways. So the theme of this paragraph is that people like Arjuna who have the quality of, that means who accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who are in a friendly disposition with Krishna can only understand Bhagavad Gita, and it is only meant for them. It is not meant for the Jnanis and the Yogis. This is the theme. Now, as far as relationship is concerned, 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in passive state, Shantarasa. One may be a devotee in active state, Dasya Rasa. I hope all of you are taking notes. One may be as a devotee as a friend, Sakhya Rasa. One may be a devotee as a parent, Vatsalya Rasa. And one may be a devotee as a conjugal lover, Madhurya Rasa. Okay, so these are the 5 different possible relationships. A Mayavadi can never understand this because according to him, God is not a person only. Arjuna was in a relationship with the Lord as a friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between this friendship and the friendship found in the material world. This is transcendental friendship which cannot be had by everyone. Of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is evoked by the perfection of devotional service. Very important point. Everybody, all of you who are there in today's session, and me and everybody whom you see around, has a unique relationship with Krishna. And how to rekindle that relationship? By perfecting the art of devotional service. Very important point. But in the present status of life, not only have we forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Every living being out of many, many billions and trillions of living beings has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. That is called Swarupa. By the process of devotional service, one can revive that Swarupa. And that stage is called Swarupa Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. So Arjuna was a devotee and he was in touch with the Supreme Lord in friendship. So theme of this paragraph is we all have a Swarupa, and by practicing devotional service, we will achieve, we will come to know, we will revive that Swarupa that is called Swarup Siddhi. We'll come to know who we are in the spiritual world. But only Guru and Krishna can reveal us. And it is not very cheap. If my heart is not clean, and if I go to Radha Kund and some Babaji tells me, come, I'll tell you who you are in the spiritual world. You are a peacock in the spiritual world. So start practicing like a peacock. All this is nonsense. First of all, I have to work on my heart. If the heart is not clear, if the heart is filled with lust, greed, anger, illusion, what is the question of Swarupa and what is the question of Swarup Siddhi? So the answer is just we have to keep chanting Hare Krishna, following 4 regulative principles, reading the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, being in the association of devotees, doing Ekadashis, honoring Prasadam. And then when the right time comes, Guru will come and reveal to us what our Swarup is. And that will be called as Swarup Siddhi. So indirectly speaking, Swarup Siddhi is basically possible only by the pleasure of the spiritual master. And not that you go to some place, pay something, and then they'll tell you. This is happening in many places actually. They cheat people. That I will tell you who you are in the spiritual world. Come. Your Guru has not told you everything. I will tell you everything. Come with me. It's like saying your wife has not satisfied you. You come to me. I am a prostitute. I'll satisfy you. So some people are there. When you go to some pilgrim places, they'll talk to you like this. Your Guru has not told you everything. Prabhupada has not taught you everything. I have something more to teach you. These people are like prostitutes. Stay away from them. Okay. How Arjuna accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. Very important point. His manner of acceptance is given in the 10th chapter, 12 to 14. So what was the theme of the next paragraph which is going to come is how to accept the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam majam vibhum ahustam rishaya sarve devarshi naradas tatha asito devalo vyasah swayam chaiva bravisime sarvam etam ritam manye yanmam vadasi keshavah nahite bhagavan vyaktim vidur deva nadanavah. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as. Now, a question could have been raised. That Arjuna is a friend of Krishna. So he is flattering Krishna by saying all these things. But Arjuna is very smart. He knew how the people of Kali Yuga will talk. So Arjuna is saying, it's not just that I am saying all this. All the great sages such as Narada, Acyuta, Devala, Vyasa are also confirming this truth about you. I am your friend and I can be flattering you. But these people, Narada, Acyuta, Devala, Vyasa, they are not your friends. Why will they flatter you? But they also say the same. And now, not only they, but you yourself are also declaring it to me. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, oh Lord, can understand your personality. So this is the mood. I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. This is the mood to accept the Bhagavad Gita. Not that I will accept everything because I'm a yogi, Dhyan Yoga, chapter 6, I will accept everything. After that, when Bhakti Yoga begins, chapter 7 to 12, oh, Krishna went a little crazy. He had kept some wine or some intoxicant liquor in the Rath along with Arjuna. So after saying the first 6 chapters, Krishna took some drinks and then he went crazy in chapter 7 to 12. So I will ignore that. Not very important. Chapter 6 is very important. Chapter 7 to 12, not important. This is not the way to study Bhagavad Gita. I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Final, finished. This is the way in which we should accept the Bhagavad Gita. After hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. That means someone who is beyond Brahman also. Para Brahman, Param Brahman. Every living being is Brahman, but the Supreme living being or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Brahman. Now the Mayavadis say that the Param Brahma and the Brahma, they are same. How is this possible? Param Dham means he is the supreme rest or abode of everything. Pavitram means he is the purest, untainted by material contamination. Purusham means that he is the supreme enjoyer. Shashwatam, eternal. Divyam, transcendental. Means beyond the modes of material nature, transcendental. Adi Devam, the original supreme personality of Godhead. Ajam, the unborn. Vibhum, the greatest. So this is the way in which Arjuna has said. And if we really want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we have to just accept what Arjuna has said, and we have to understand the Bhagavad Gita the way Arjuna understood it, and the way Arjuna understood it has been brought down in the Guru Shishya Parampara, and it is there in the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Any other Bhagavad Gita you read, like Prabhupada said in the first paragraph, it does not touch the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. Now, one may think, moving on, now one may think that Krishna, okay, I think what I have explained is being told in this paragraph. Now one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by the way of flattery, but Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead not only by himself, but by authorities like Narada, Acyuta, Devala and Vyasadeva. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge and Vedic knowledge as it is, accepted by all acharyas. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etad ritam manye. I accept everything you say to be true. Arjuna also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand and he cannot be known even by the great demigods. Because Krishna is the source of those demigods. How can they understand Krishna? How can the demigods understand Krishna? Demigods don't understand themselves also. Sometimes in illusion they think that I am the Supreme. All glory is to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose Maya Shakti makes these demigods feel that they are the Supreme. This means that the Lord cannot be even known by personalities greater than human beings. Very strong point. The Lord cannot be known by personalities greater than human beings. So how can a human being understand Lord Sri Krishna without becoming his devotee? So this is a very nice theme of this, that without becoming devotee, we cannot understand and we have to accept it the way Arjuna accepted it. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. There are some very great commentators on Bhagavad Gita who say Krishna was not God, he was a Mahapurush. This is also a very great crime while understanding Bhagavad Gita. Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to the statements of Bhagavad Gita or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we should at least theoretically accept, okay, the person who is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, at least theoretically he should accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is difficult to understand the Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. Okay, so keep noting down the themes of each paragraph and send me a PPT with the thematic presentation, or send me notes, whatever you want. Just what is the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. So if somebody asks you, what is the purpose? What is the message of Bhagavad Gita? This is the answer. To deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways. As Arjuna was also in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Krishna and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us is full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non existence. Powerful line. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non existence. Our existence is eternal, but somehow or the other we have been put into asat. Asat refers to that which does not exist. Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are only few who are actually inquiring about their position, as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, that means unless one comes to that point, then one is not considered to be a perfect human being. Humanity begins with this sort of inquiry awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute. Theme. What is the ultimate success of human civilization? The ultimate success is that they should inquire about the Supreme. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering, or where they come from, or where they shall go after death, are proper students of Bhagavad Gita. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna. So, what are the qualifications to read Bhagavad Gita? These are the qualifications. That one should ask questions, Athatu Brahma Jigyasa. Lord Krishna, we will cover another 3-4 paragraphs, and at 9:15 or 9:16 we will stop, and we will take some comments, feedback, 1 or 2 questions. By 9:20 or 9:25 we will end the session. Lord Krishna descends specifically to re-establish the real purpose of life. When a man forgets that purpose, even out of many human beings who are awakened, even then, out of many human beings who are awakened, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position. And for him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. For whom this Bhagavad Gita is spoken? For such kind of a person. Actually, we are all swallowed by the tigress of nescience. But the Lord is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. To this end, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna his student. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. Now, this is a very nice point. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. But Arjuna was put into the ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question the Lord about the problems of life, so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of the future generations of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. Then man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life. So Arjuna was not bewildered. He is an eternal associate, part and parcel of the Lord. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jayate. Vede gaye jahara charito. In the Guru Puja we sing, wherever there is prema bhakti, all kinds of ignorance is already destroyed. So Arjuna was at the prema platform. He would have never had such kind of ignorance. But he was put by the Lord. The Lord only uses his devotees as instruments to set an example for the entire human society. So Lord used his devotee Arjuna. He put him into ignorance. And then he made him ask. It's like a guitarist who is playing the guitar. The guitar should not become proud that I am playing very nicely. It is the guitarist who is pressing the notes and who is having the rhythm. But the guitarist will praise the guitar. What a nice guitar it is. But actually, it is the guitarist who is actually making that music. So internally, Krishna as the Paramatma sitting in the heart of Arjuna was making Arjuna, or was putting Arjuna in some kind of ignorance and was making him ask some questions. So Arjuna was a stringed instrument and Krishna was just playing it. And you know why Krishna was doing it? He was doing it for you and me. All this propaganda, Mahabharat, essentially to tell the Bhagavad Gita, was done because Krishna knew that he had, when he leaves this planet Earth and enters into his eternal pastimes, he should leave something which the spirit souls later on could read and come back to him. This is Krishna's love for us, that he put put Arjuna in that situation so that he could ask such questions and we could benefit from it eternally. So for today, I stop the discussion here. Session by session, I want to finish this introduction. It will take, I think, some few more sessions. I will put this in the chat box. That means from this place, we have to read in the next session. Okay. I will stop the screen share. If there are any questions or comments, any feedbacks, any reflections, they are welcome. Yes, Abhishek Mishra Prabhuji. Abhishek Mishra Prabhu always has lots and lots of questions. You can unmute yourself and ask Prabhu. Abhishek Mishra Prabhu, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one very small question, but before that, I would like to share one realization, regarding the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I just wanted to share with all the fellow devotees who are here. And it's very nice that you cited the reference from Srimad Bhagavatam now. So, a lot of times people may ask, like, why only this Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Why not any other? There are so many mantras available, right? So, the reason why this is called as Mahamantra and why this is so potent is because if you look at the every word of this mantra, okay, so Hare means the feminine potency of Sri Krishna, which is nothing but Srimati Radharani. Then Krishna is, we know, is the name, and then Ram. So this particular mantra actually, kind of is so concentrated that there are no supporting words here like Nama or Namastute or something like that. Okay, so there are no gaps basically. So for this entire 32 words that we are chanting in this mantra, we are only taking the name of the Lord and only taking the name of the Lord. So this is why it is so potent, and this is why we should chant it. So this is one realization which I wanted to share. My question is, Prabhuji, what is the difference between Jeev and Jivatma?
No difference. One and the same. Jeev, Jivatma.
Okay.
They are synonyms. Paryayavachi shabds.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Jivatma, sometimes Jiva. There is difference between Jeev and Jantu. A person who knows that he is the spirit soul and who knows the purpose of life is called as a Jiva. And a person who doesn't know the purpose of life and who doesn't has any Brahma Jigyasa, he's called as Jantu. So if somebody is a very nice, handsome man living in Sandeep Vihar, AWHO, like yourself, but he is not having the Brahma Jigyasa, then he is a Jantu. And Jantu means animal. But if he has a Brahma Jigyasa, then he is a Jiva or Jivatma. This is my understanding. Thank you for the question.
Yep.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Comments? दीपमाला गोलानी माता जी, दीपमाला गोलानी माता जी रात मतलब रात में भी जगी रहती हैं क्वेश्चन पूछने के लिए. वी विल आस्क हर टू अनम्यूट. माता जी आप अनम्यूटेड हैं, आप पूछ सकते हैं.
ओके प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी.
प्रभु जी मेरा क्वेश्चन एक है कि जब हम लोग पूजा करते हैं सुबह को, तो पहले पूजा करनी चाहिए या मंत्र का जाप करना चाहिए? क्योंकि मैं पहले पूजा करती हूँ, उसके बाद मंत्र जाप करना स्टार्ट करती हूँ.
The Yuga Dharma is to chant Hare Krishna. And that is the best possible way of worshipping Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare is the best possible way of chanting Hare Krishna. Best possible way of attaining the lotus feet of Krishna in the age of Kali Yuga. However, it is personal choice. Deity worship is also important. But when I say it is personal choice, if somebody asks me, then I give more preference to chanting. But in ISKCON, there is a setup that 4:30 a.m. we have Mangal Aarti. So Mangal Aarti means everybody is assembled in front of the altar and we are singing the Guru Ashtakam and somebody is doing the Pujari Seva. And once the Mangal Aarti is performed, then everybody sits down and they chant Hare Krishna. So this is the sequence in ISKCON. First we do the Mangal Aarti, which is in common language the puja, and then there is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting, japa meditation. However, in the core of our heart, or at least in my heart, I have this understanding that nobody can perform deity worship. मतलब कलयुग में कोई भी अर्च विग्रह की उपासना ठीक से नहीं कर सकता है, संभव ही नहीं है. कलयुग में अर्च विग्रह की उपासना करना मतलब अर्च विग्रह की उपासना करते वक्त भी निरंतर हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र को बोलते रहना है और गाइडेंस ट्रेनिंग के साथ. काफी प्रकार के 64 प्रकार के सेवा अपराध होते हैं. तो अगर कोई वैज्ञानिक स्तर पर देखे, साइंटिफिकली देखे, तो कुछ ना कुछ अपराध तो हो ही जाएगा. बट हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र के बारे में कहा गया है, नाम नाम अकारी बहुधा निज सर्व शक्ति हिस तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणे न कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम निदृशम इहा जनिनानुराग. चैंटिंग ऑफ हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र के बारे में चैतन्य महाप्रभु बोलते हैं, नाम नाम अकारी बहुधा निज सर्व शक्ति. ओ माय डियर लॉर्ड, you have hundreds and billions of names like Krishna and Govinda, and you have invested your personal potency in all these names. Nam nam akari bahudha nija sarva shakti his tatrarpita niyamita smarane nakala. And there are no hard and fast rules of chanting your holy names also. दिन में भी कर सकते हैं, रात में भी कर सकते हैं, बैठ के भी कर सकते हैं, खड़े होकर के भी कर सकते हैं. एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि, इट इज योर मर्सी, वी कैन नॉट अप्रोच यू. आप अधोक्षज हैं, आप हमारे स्थूल इंद्रियों से परे हैं, लेकिन ये आपकी मर्सी है, ये आपकी करुणा है कि यू हेल्प अस टू इजीली अप्रोच यू बाय द एजेंसी ऑफ योर होली नेम, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट डिफरेंट. आप और आपका नाम दोनों अभिन्न हैं. अभिन्नत्वम नाम नामिनम कहा जाता है. So you are so merciful that you easily allow us to approach you through your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no taste to chant your holy name. ऐसा चैतन्य महाप्रभु शिक्षाष्टकम में बोल रहे हैं. मतलब उनको ऐसा नहीं कि उनको टेस्ट नहीं, वो तो स्वयं भगवान है. But he is teaching what the mood of the devotee should be. So personally, ट्यूसडे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे 3 दिन मेरी पुजारी सेवा होती है. अभी कल भी है, तो मुझे जल्दी सोना है. लेकिन मंडे, फ्राइडे, सैटरडे, संडे मेरी पूजा की सेवा नहीं होती है, तो उस दिन मैं स्पेसिफिकली अर्च विग्रह की उपासना नहीं करता हूँ, लेकिन मैं हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जप हर दिन करता हूँ, क्योंकि वो मेरा व्रत है, एंड दैट इज इजी टू डू इन कलयुग. तो गिवन अ प्रेफरेंस एज अ पर्सनल चॉइस, यदि मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ या घर पर हूँ, तो अर्च विग्रह की उपासना करने से कॉन्शियसनेस प्यूरिफाई होता है डेफिनेटली. अर्च विग्रह की उपासना हम क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि हम भगवान के चरण कमल पर फोकस करेंगे, अगरबत्ती से, लैंप से, चामर से, अर्घ्य से. हम लोग ये सब हर दिन क्यों करते हैं? ताकि उनका उनका जो स्वरूप है वो हमारे मन में बैठ जाए, ताकि जब हम मर रहे हैं तो वही स्वरूप हमको याद आ जाए. दैट इज द रियल एम टू डू पूजा. पूजा इज ऑल्सो नेसेसरी, बट हाउएवर द युग धर्मा इज हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र. अब इस पूरे कॉन्सेप्ट को समझते हुए आपको जो करना है आप कीजिए. यथा इच्छसि तथा कुरु. ठीक है. निवेदिता सोनेजी माताजी is asking, Prabhuji, for Mangal Aarti at ISKCON, can we get link like we get for Japa? Very good question. I don't think so, क्योंकि उस समय सब लोग आरती अटेंड करते रहते हैं, किसी के पास टाइम नहीं रहता है मोबाइल सेट करने का. लेकिन ऑन स्पेशल डेज हम लोग कर सकते हैं, बट उसमें भी वो आपको यू डोंट गेट दैट फील, क्योंकि it's something really divine. It is beyond the physical time and space. आपको वहां पर्सनली होना है just to experience it. However, there are, हाँ, मायापुर टीवी शो सुतापा बदेकर माता जी बता रही हैं, तो आप सुबह सुबह उठ के 4:30 बजे मायापुर टीवी पर चले जाइए और वहां पर मंगल आरती आप देख सकती हैं. उन लोग they have really put the cameras in the right places और बहुत साल का एक्सपीरियंस है उनके पास, तो they show it in a very very nice way. हमारे पास वैसा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं, वैसा एक्सपीरियंस भी नहीं, तो वहां पर आप जा सकती हैं, बट यू हैव टू बी अप बाय 4:30. ठीक है. ओके. एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस और कमेंट्स? If there are no other questions or comments, then I would like to end today's discussion on the note that we should all read the Bhagavad Gita and we should distribute the Bhagavad Gita. This is the month of book marathon. We are reading the Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. We are taking so much advantage from it. When we are reading the introduction, we are seeing that powerful, authoritative philosophy and approach towards Bhagavad Gita. Everybody deserves this, and this is only possible when we go and give this book to someone. Not everybody can join these classes, but everybody can have a book. If you and me try to explain the Bhagavad Gita to someone, we may not be able to explain. But if they read this introduction to Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada, किसी का life बदल जाएगा. So please, please, please participate in book distribution. Today is 29th, 30, 31. 2 more days. Do your best. Okay. With this, I would like to end today's discussion. Sutapa Badevakar Mataji ने last minute में हाथ उठा दिया है. So I will ask her to unmute herself.
हाँ, हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, आप इतने दिन कहाँ थी?
प्रभु जी, I had my exams actually. I'm doing PhD, so I was very busy. But I didn't miss. I was listening in YouTube, like while going to college. I'll just listen. I know that is very bad, but एक headphone रहेगा तो मेरा 1.5 घंटे का सफर like हो जाएगा easily through the traffic. Okay, this Sunday I missed your class, but I have already heard it. But I was so mesmerized with the topic कि मैं अभी भी like I'm not able to digest. Okay, then I've already heard Hari Kshetra Das Prabhuji, I think one more Prabhuji said his same lecture, I think 1 month before he had said, just to get like more deeper what because I don't get to time to read those chapters. So I prefer hearing more and more so that I can understand a same thing from a different person. But the homework, whatever you have given, okay, I have a little bit doubt that I don't know how much I can like write down because I missed the class. So I want you to explain once again the homework, exactly what you are asking.
Okay, I will explain. I will just show the slide. Let me see.
Slide I have seen, I have read, but yeah.
Let me also recollect, because I do many classes. I also
Okay.
sometimes don't remember what homework I have given.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. So you heard 2 lectures on yoga ladder, huh?
Yes.
Which one could you understand better?
If you don't mind, then I can say the other Prabhuji's.
Yeah, definitely. He is such a senior person. So the homework is here. I will share my screen. So the homework is established in your own words the superiority of bhakti over the other yoga systems with reference to verses and purports from Bhagavad Gita chapters 2 and 6. This comments from Prabhupada lectures you can skip. So basically we have to prove that Bhagavad Gita is more superior than all other yoga systems. And how you have to do that? Hint is given in the question only. You have to explain the impracticality of other yoga systems other than Bhakti Yoga in Kali Yuga. So you have to take Karma Yoga and you have to explain how it is impractical to perform Karma Yoga in Kali Yuga, how Dhyan Yoga is impractical, how Gyan Yoga is impractical. So first part of your answer is over. Second part, how Bhakti Yoga contains all components of other yoga systems. That means the result which you attain by doing Karma Yoga is already naturally attained in what can you say, Bhakti Yoga. The result which you attain by Gyan Yoga is also already there in Bhakti Yoga. And the highest pinnacle of perfection in Dhyan Yoga is easily attained by a devotee in just 2 or 3 months. That is Samadhi. So that you have to explain. And lastly, the third part of your answer, how Bhakti Yoga can be practiced without having practiced the other yoga systems. This you have to explain. That if somebody does not practice Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, if they directly take to the Bhakti Yoga, then what will be the outcome? Does he really need to progress? Like the yoga ladder says, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga being highest. Does he really need to go in sequence through the stairs, or can he take a lift and directly reach the Bhakti Yoga? Or directly reach the topmost floor? So this point we have to discuss. If you have not fully been able to digest the subject matter discussed in this session, then you can wait. In the next session, I'll be basically discussing these 3 points. Maybe you can hear that and then you can revisit this question and try to answer it.
Yeah. The third question, actually, I can understand. Okay. Yeah. That has been clearly explained in the class. Yeah.
First 2 you did not understand.
First 2 I understood, but yeah.
You have to read.
Yeah.
In my class, I have already explained the impracticality of other yoga systems.
Yeah, impracticality I know, but yeah, what you have said that I can write, but like to me, believe and write, that is another question. Yeah.
What is the challenge in believing?
There is no challenge, Prabhuji. I accept, as Arjuna has also accepted, I wholeheartedly accept and believe Bhagavad Gita.
But you are a PhD student now, that's why. That is the real problem. I'm sorry, I'm just joking. So you will be able to write this answer very nicely until you, when you read the entire chapter 2 to 6, page by page in full detail. Then only you will be able to write it. Otherwise, you'll always feel that you have not done full justice.
Oh, actually, I want to write with my own realization. It's not like a parrot, like what you have said, I'll just remember and write down. I just don't want to do that. So whatever I have understood.
Want your realizations.
Prabhuji?
We don't want your realizations. I have written very clearly in the question that refer to the purports of Srila Prabhupada from chapter 2 to 6. Refer to with reference to the verses and purports from Bhagavad Gita. We do not want your realizations. This is the mistake which people do. This is not a PhD.
Oh, okay. Then it's fine. Okay.
That is why
I was confused.
This is Bhagavad Gita as it is. Who are you and me to comment on the Bhagavad Gita?
True. Yeah.
We just want, if we can just read properly and as a parrot reproduce what the great acharyas have told, that is the success of our life. This I have been explaining from day one. We do not, this is not for Sutapa Mataji, but for everybody. We do not want your opinion. If you send me your opinions, I will just delete your emails. I will appreciate those people who can give proper references, who can pick up the verses, the purports from chapter 2 to 6, and then explain what it means. That's all. I'm only looking for that. Pick up those important points, which helps you in substantiating these 3 points, and just explain it in your own words. If you can do this, you are a good student of Bhagavad Gita. If you cannot do this, then your answer is not up to the mark. And trust me, it sounds very easy when I say, but many people fail to do this also. The task here is just to read chapter 2 to 6 and pick up few points and explain it. That also many people are not able to do. I've been giving this homework from many, in 2 or 3 batches I've given and I've seen. Nobody is able to do that. They always come up with their own fantasies, own imaginations, own apprehensions. Some people write, they do not follow the pattern which I'm asking. So it's not easy. If somebody can just pick up the relevant points which I have already asked in the question from chapter 2 to 6, along with references, proper references, and if they can just explain it in their words, start with an introduction, end with a conclusion, and that I will think is a great achievement. So it is my request that everybody please try and see how it goes. And please do not write your own realizations, because nobody wants your realizations, because your realizations, you are not a transcendental personality. You are a person in the 3 modes of material nature, and a person in the 3 modes of material nature cannot write their realizations on the transcendental subject matter. So we don't want anybody's realizations on this. So therefore the question is very clear. I'll repeat it. Establish in your own words the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over other yoga systems with reference to verses and purports from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 to 6. And then what you have to write in the answer, the hints are given. If you can just do this, task will be done. Okay, Sudhapa Mataji, is it clear?
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada calls KC as a science. Sudha Mataji is commenting. Yes, Mataji. Thank you. So we will end today's discussion. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.